What is this? Mickey Mouse money? Let's begin. Now, of course, it's a scammer's paradise, isn't it, when something changed and people aren't too familiar with it, because presumably they would be able to get away with a few more, let's just say, errors than they would do otherwise. And now it seems that since the new banknotes are rolling out, a lot more of us are going to have to be a bit more careful. I mean, I know they're trying to do away with cash and go they call cashless routes, taking away all the banks in the process, it seems, but there's still quite a lot of people out there who do still use cash, and I wouldn't want my barber Chris, or anyone else for that matter, to be scammed by these new notes. But as the article says, an urgent warning has been issued over the new King Charles banknotes. And that is because last year nearly 116,000 counterfeit banknotes were seized, which together had a face value of about £2.5 million, which is mental, isn't it? Just imagine the amount of money that these scammers would have carried on to produce, and just remember it would be us customers, the people who would actually lose out in the end, because businesses would just turn around and say, oh sorry, we can't take that, it's counterfeit. So whoever gave it to you has kind of screwed you over, eh? And those figures from the Bank of England and Raisin UK have prompted a warning from Raisin UK's co-founder to remain vigilant. And that is because the banknotes featuring King Charles portraits were first issued on June the 5th of this year, which means, of course, it will take a while for them to circulate and replace the current ones we have. Kevin Montford of Raisin UK told Plymouth Live, for the foreseeable future, both Queen Elizabeth II and King Charles III, or King Charles III as the Irish would probably more likely call him, banknotes will be circulating. And of course, security features are present on all these notes, allowing you to check the notes to prevent forgeries. And unfortunately for the rest of us, scammers, let's just say, have become quite used to these security features themselves and have become really good at reproducing them, which kind of sucks really, doesn't it? Which, thinking about it, it does make me wonder if in the future the government or whoever else would just say, well, if you use cashless or whatever else, then you wouldn't need to worry about it. But at the end of the day, that is up to you, not the government. If you want to use cash, then you still use it. The good news is, though, it says that forgeries are often much easier to detect now that these banknotes have improved from previous paper ones. However, criminals may still attempt to exploit the changes, and most retailers regularly check banknotes, so it is unlikely you'll come across a counterfeit when shopping with trusted sources. And that's that word there, isn't it? Trusted sources. It just makes me wonder what other businesses would do to get rid of them if they actually come across one themselves. It says here, you should be more cautious about accepting cash from markets, online marketplaces like Facebook, and any in-cash handjobs. Sounds dodgy. Although I don't think that's quite the handjob they're talking about, eh? Anyway, these are the so-called methods apparently to check whether your banknotes are genuine, just in case, for whatever reason, you don't know. It says, and these are very scientific, so prepare yourself. Number 1. Tilt the note from side to side and check the words change between the note's value. For example, a £5 note will show the text 5 and pound in a hologram image. And the second one is the metallic image over the see-through window should have specific colours. Gold on the £5 and £10, gold and blue on the £20, and gold and green on the £50. And the window should also feature a portrait matching the printed monarch. Actually, thinking about it, that reminds me, when I was a kid, I used to fold the £5 or £10 notes up, and if you did it over the Queen's face, you could make her smile. And it also says it is important to note that any counterfeit notes that you may come across are worthless and you can't be reimbursed for them. As of course, as I was saying earlier, so at the end of the day, we're the ones who's going to be losing out for all this fakery going on, which is the last thing we need in the middle of a cost of living crisis, eh? But it says, if you suspect you have a counterfeit, you should take the note to the nearest police station so the note can be sent to the National Crime Agency for further examination. Either way, though, surely this sort of thing should be put a stop to in this day and age. You'd like to think, wouldn't you, that even though notes do have certain protective features on them, quite often criminals or scammers or whatever can replicate them quite easily at times. Admittedly, the newer ones are a bit more harder for them to do, but how long will it be before they'll just be able to do them? I think it might be a much better idea, if it was possible of course, for the notes to have some sort of NFC little chip on them, which obviously wouldn't carry any identification to yourself or whatever, but just to say that this note is genuine. So it sounds that they're not messing about, and hopefully, the government will soon release even more protective features to make it even harder for the scammers, and therefore giving them the virtual middle finger in the process, eh?